Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, we are jumping right into a totally fascinating revelation today about human movement and safety. I was completely blown away to learn that the single most effective thing you can do right now to prevent a fall is not a gadget you buy, it's not a grip sock, and it's definitely not a handrail you install in your bathroom. Instead, the ultimate fall prevention tool is actually just a mechanical adjustment. It's a simple, super targeted change to a movement that you have literally been doing your entire life. So let's dive into where this is coming from. The source material for today's explainer gives us insights from a physical therapist who has over 26 years of experience working with adults over 70. And over those 2.5 decades, this therapist discovered an incredibly consistent, underlying mystery behind almost every single fall. It turns out the true culprit isn't a slippery floor, and it's not some rogue rug waiting to ambush you in the hallway. It's a quiet, totally unconscious change in how we walk, a change that happens so gradually you probably don't even realize it's happening. You know, when someone comes into the clinic after a fall, they usually feel pretty confused or maybe even a little embarrassed. And they almost always say the exact same thing. I was just walking across the kitchen. I wasn't doing anything unusual. And here is the heartbreaking truth of it all. They're exactly right. They really weren't doing anything unusual. But that is precisely the invisible problem we're going to solve today. The way they walk every single day has quietly become dangerous. Let's put a name to the villain of our story here. It's called shuffle gait. Now, this usually starts up after a minor trip or a close call. You get a little spooked, so you become a little more cautious. Your steps get shorter. Instead of actually lifting your feet, you kind of start sliding them close to the ground. Your posture shifts into this forward lean, and your gaze drops downward. Now, what feels like a careful, safe way to walk is actually one of the highest risk movement patterns your body can possibly adopt. Why? Well, because it drastically reduces your foot clearance, which turns every tiny crack in the sidewalk into an instant trip hazard. And worse than that, over time, this pattern actively weakens your hip flexors, your glutes, and your core muscles. Now, when you put these two walking habits side by side, the contrast is just staggering. On one side, you have the shuffle gait, a flat-footed landing, a really shortened step, and that precarious forward lean where your center of gravity is essentially already falling. But on the other side, we have the proper gait. This is built entirely on a heel strike, a smooth rolling of your weight, and a nice upright posture. This is exactly how human beings are biomechanically designed to walk. It's stable, it's efficient, and it is a beautifully balanced movement.
All right, let's break down our mechanical savior, the proper heel strike. Think of it as a fluid 4-part sequence. First off, you reach your heel slightly forward. Second, you let that heel make contact with the ground first. Third, you smoothly roll your weight forward through the arch and right across the ball of your foot. And finally, you push off through your toes to drive the next step. When you do this correctly, it creates this amazing chain reaction. Your step length automatically increases, your foot easily clears the ground, and your posture is naturally pulled upright, which re-engages all those weakened hip and core muscles.
So you might be wondering, how do we get that natural heel strike back once we've lost it? Well, the really good news here is that the connection between your brain and your legs can absolutely be rebuilt. We've got a great toolkit for this, 5 specific, highly practical exercises that are designed to completely reprogram the nervous system and make this safe, new walking pattern totally automatic. Okay, let's kick things off with exercise 1, the conscious heel strike walk. If you've been shuffling for years, the neural pathway that produces a proper heel strike has literally faded away from disuse. To rebuild it, find yourself a clear hallway. Stand with one hand just lightly touching the wall for safety. Now take 10 deliberate steps, and I want you to think about absolutely nothing except your heel. Reach it forward, let it land first, feel the roll, and feel that push off. You are directly rebuilding faded motor patterns right here. Moving right along to exercise 2, the high knee march. Shuffle gait really takes hold because the hip flexors, the muscles that actually lift your leg, get incredibly weak. To fix this, just stand behind a sturdy chair, both hands resting lightly on the back for support. March in place, lifting your knee toward your chest as high as you comfortably can, and then lower it back down with control. You want to aim for about 15 reps on each leg. This directly rebuilds that vital lifting reflex that keeps your feet safely above everyday trip hazards. Like that edge of the rug that always somehow manages to catch you. Let's jump to exercise 3, 18 inches. That is the magic number for the stride length walk. Shuffle gait literally cuts your stride length in half, which absolutely destroys your momentum and your balance. So for this one, just place 2 pieces of tape on the floor about 18 inches apart. Use this as a simple visual target to gently extend your stride back to a natural length. Don't lunge for it, just aim your heel for the tape. It's a gentle challenge to restore your natural balance rhythm. And that brings us to exercise 4, which begs a pretty crucial question. Why on earth train in slow motion? Well, the answer is that speed is the enemy of relearning. When we walk fast, we rely entirely on our ingrained habits. And if your habit happens to be shuffling, speed is just going to make it worse. By walking down your hallway at a pace where each step takes a full 3 to 4 seconds to complete, you strip away momentum. You force every single wobble and little micro-correction to be handled consciously. It demands true neurological relearning. Finally, we have exercise 5, the obstacle step over. Look, a clear hallway is great for practice, but real life is full of pet toys, electrical cords, garden hoses, the whole shebang. For this exercise, place a rolled-up towel or maybe a pool noodle on the floor. Walk toward it and deliberately lift your foot high enough to clear it with room to spare. The real goal here is to train your brain to detect hazards early, respond in advance, and step over them with absolute control, rather than just panicking at the last second. Now, I really want to slow down for a second here, because this next point is absolutely crucial. Speed is your enemy when you're retraining your gait, and safety protocols are absolutely paramount. If you've recently had a hip replacement, knee surgery, plantar fasciitis, or really any foot condition, please consult your doctor first. Always practice these exercises near a wall or a sturdy chair. Wear your non-slip shoes or go barefoot on a safe surface. And if you ever feel dizzy or feel a sharp pain, just stop immediately. Progress entirely at your own pace. The complete picture we're looking at here is truly brilliant. You see, building physical walking mechanics with the heel strike is super important, but it has to be paired with healthy nerve function to create total, lasting balance. As we get older, numbness and tingling in the legs and feet can severely erode our confidence in the ground beneath us. By pairing muscle movement with nerve health, we are tackling the fear of falling from both the mechanical side and the neurological side. So, to address that nerve health, we incorporate daily foundational exercises that are designed to drive blood circulation right down into the smallest vessels. This includes a seated toe and ankle wake-up, rolling a massage ball under your foot to stimulate the nerves, curling a towel with your toes to rebuild intrinsic foot strength, and doing some nice controlled heel raises. If you practice these consistently, these simple daily routines really ease that dangerous morning numbness, making sure your brain actually feels the floor when your new heel strike lands. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this core truth. Aging does not mean surrendering control over how your body feels. The long-term benefit of these exercises goes way beyond just physical comfort. By combining a confident, biomechanically correct heel strike with strong nerve circulation, you reduce the fear that quietly steals your confidence. You actively preserve your ability to climb your own stairs, walk to the mailbox, and totally reclaim your independence without constantly wondering if your legs are going to hold you up. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to turn it over to you. We've seen how a simple mechanical shift, the heel strike, paired with nerve stimulation can completely rewrite your balance. So I want you to observe yourself today. Is your unsteadiness worse at night, or maybe after sitting for a while? Identifying your own pattern is the very first step toward changing it. Think about it for a second. If you could reclaim just 10% more confidence in your stride today, where would you walk tomorrow? You have the power to retrain your body. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.